So for a few days now, rumors have circulated that the Biden administration might consider returning nuclear weapons that Ukraine gave up in the 1990s so that they could be used to deter Russia's continued invasion. However, this speculation stemmed from a completely baseless claim by some unnamed US official and was irresponsibly cited in the New York Times. Now, what did this official actually say? Well, the New York Times published an article on Thursday, November 21st, titled, quote, "Trump's vow to end the war could leave Ukraine with few options," end quote. And the article explored Western strategies to assist Ukraine ahead of Donald Trump's potential return to office. The article included a paragraph stating that some unnamed officials suggested that President Joe Biden could consider returning nuclear weapons to Ukraine, which they relinquished under the Budapest Memorandum in the 1990s. Now, the specific paragraph read, quote, "Several officials even suggested that Mr. Biden could return nuclear weapons to Ukraine that were taken from it after the fall of the Soviet Union. That would be an instant and enormous deterrent, but such a step would be complicated and have serious implications," end quote. That was the paragraph. This was some idea raised by an anonymous official, not the president himself. Furthermore, Washington does not even control the nuclear weapons that Ukraine gave up, and they never have, making this option impossible. But I guess this raises the question, what if we give them some of our nuclear weapons? Well, this violates the non-proliferation agreements and the Budapest Memorandum that was signed by both the United States and Ukraine. And while Russia violated the Budapest Memorandum by invading Ukraine, its legal framework still very much remains in place. So returning nuclear weapons would dismantle the agreement's foundational principles. On top of that, Ukraine no longer has the physical infrastructure, the technological capabilities, or the trained personnel to manage a nuclear arsenal. And this is because it disarmed decades ago. And besides, we have many avenues to support Ukraine to victory that does not include nuclear weapons. We are not weak like the Russians. We don't need to threaten nuclear escalation every 3 days because we suck at everything else. So use some fucking common sense, Helene Cooper, Andrew Kramer, Eric Schmidt, and Julian Barnes of the New York Times. Quoting some anonymous rando that works in the White House on the topic with such massive gravity as nuclear weapons is foolish. Doing so just gave Putin and the Kremlin a gift. On top of that, we have these yahoos saying NATO is preparing preemptive strikes against Russia. This is flat out disinformation being shared by Sean Ryan and Douglas McGregor, period. This is twisting the words of Admiral Bauer. Who is Admiral Bauer? Well, he is the chair of NATO's military committee, and his words are being twisted by the Kremlin to make it seem like NATO is going to preemptively strike Russia. The actual quote from Admiral Bauer is this, quote, "The idea is that we are a defensive alliance, so we will only sit and wait until we are attacked. And when we are attacked, we will be able to shoot down the arrows," he means missiles there, "that come at us. But it's smarter not only to do that, but also to attack the archer that is in Russia if Russia attacks us." Now, he's talking about a kinetic response to Russia attacking us. It is very clear. And the Kremlin has twisted that to make it seem like NATO is going to preemptively strike Russian assets before they fire. But Admiral Bauer goes on to say, quote, "And of course, because we are a defensive alliance, we will have to take the first blow," end quote. But Russia left that out and obviously, as I said, twisted the rest. And morons with enormous followings clutched their pearls in manners that are wholly unhelpful, shared ridiculous posts, and it was a detriment to global security.